If you're looking to create, grow, and sustain your wealth, download and subscribe to the Pain Points of Wealth podcast at BeBullish.com with Bob, Ryan, and Chris Payne. It's your podcast for market insights, money tips, and real talk on the economy. Download and subscribe at BeBullish.com.
This episode is brought to you by Nespresso. Gift magical mornings with Nespresso Virtuo Pop. Compact and stylish, Virtuo Pop is made to meet every morning coffee craving. From espresso to coffee, hot or iced, at the click of a button. And celebrate the season with Nespresso's limited edition coffee flavors. Sweet almond and hibiscus, cinnamon and candied tamarind, and festive double espresso. Magic in the making. Shop the holiday gift collection exclusively at Nespresso.com.
Good morning. This is Mike Stoller for the Stoller Real Estate Report. What's happening in the office market in New York City? It is happy days are here again. That's the subject that many people have said to me. So today, to tell us about the New York City office market with regard to leasing, investment sales, and other areas, I have David Falk, who is the president of the New York Tri-State region for Newmark. So as I said, what is Newmark today?
Well, first of all, great to be here, Michael, as always. Newmark is a full-service commercial real estate firm that is international. We're public. We have every line of business, every service line, and we are major players throughout. And the change of Newmark from 20 years ago is a different firm. It's the top tier.
So what do you attribute that to?
I attribute it to a few reasons. Number one, Barry Goslin's vision. Number two, many people who grew within the firm that had talent that really started spreading their wings. Others noticed it, and then Barry was able to recruit and bring in fantastic teams across the country who wanted to be part of it, build their business, and the firm is very entrepreneurial. The brokers have the ability to do and create, within their area, and if you are a self-starter, it's a great place to be because you can go and do. We use the expression, the Nike ad, just do it. Just do it.
So with regard to just do it, what's going on today? Rents are up. People are taking more space than they've had over the years. What do you attribute all this to?
Yeah, so rents are up, and it's really interesting. I saw a stat recently, which I thought was interesting, which was in 2009 and 2010, there were both years had about 25 deals a year in Manhattan that hit $100 a foot, or at least $100 a foot. In 2024, there was 156 deals, and many of those were over 150, and some were over 200. I believe 14 were over $200 a foot, and we're going to have the same thing this year. And why is that? Well, I do think that companies are doing well, especially in Midtown Manhattan, which is based with financial firms, law firms, and the financial firms, they wanted to reinvest in their work environment, and others followed them. And so you keep hearing about the trophy buildings. It is true. In the best 50 buildings in Midtown Manhattan, the availability rate is 4.6%.
Wow.
And probably most of that, if not all of it, is beneath the 15th floor. So the demand has been tremendous for the better buildings. It's almost getting to the point where you don't even have alternatives to consider. So that will benefit the next tier. We're starting to see the A-, B pluses who are putting a little money into their buildings. These companies are only moving to buildings that speak to their brand and image. That's a must. So you can't just say we moved to a building because it's inexpensive. That's not going to fly. The building doesn't have to be an expensive building. It just needs to have has to meet your brand. So the A-, B pluses who are starting to improve their first impressions, they're doing well.
What about Hudson Yards?
It's doing great. It did great. Hudson Yards proved the thesis that there was a lack of brand new construction, glass curtain wall alternatives. Now there really doesn't really exist as far as availability, and that's why you're seeing this incredible new discussion, which is Madison Avenue. All these new construction, new opportunities. So you have 43 Madison, Boston properties. They already have several tenants lined up for this.
That's with CV Star?
CV Star, it's a 900,000 foot building. It's it's proven out. The Boston Properties, a great brand, is going to build a terrific building. It's right next to Grand Central. It'll be first rate in all the highest standards. You read that the Brooks Brothers site was just purchased recently. You're going to have the Rudin site at 415 Madison. You have 383 Madison, which is JP Morgan Chase. They're going to redo the exterior of that building. 270 Park, obviously, that goes from Park to Madison. That has enhanced Madison Avenue. And then you have the Vanderbilt Hotel site, which will be the next. So that corridor theoretically could have 5 new constructed office buildings that are going to be gleaming, fantastic buildings with great tenants over the next 6 years.
At rents of, what, 150 or more?
Probably more. You're going to see rents in the 200s, definitely. Definitely. First of all, it costs a lot of money to build a new building like that. You know, if I had to guess, you're probably going to look at average rents of $250 a foot.
Are we going to see more conversions?
We are seeing conversions, which is a great thing. So it started years ago after 9/11. You had the south portion of Wall Street was converted. And then now, since COVID, it started downtown Water Street. All those buildings are being converted, which made it a tighter market downtown because tenants that were in those buildings stayed downtown, relocated to other office alternatives. The great thing now that's going on, there's 14 million square feet of buildings being planned throughout Manhattan in various stages to be converted. And some of those, and many of them, are Midtown East, which needed this because the criticism was always, it's quiet after 6:30 at night. You've got buildings like 767 3rd, 750 3rd, 205 East 42nd, 845 3rd, on and on and on. They're all being converted. So that means it's better for the retail, the restaurants, the streetscape. It really is a good thing for Midtown East.
Now, any foreign companies coming to New York? Any new?
You got a lot of AI.
Entrant?
You got a lot of AI companies. We counted about 750,000 feet of AI requirements in Manhattan. Recently Harvey AI transacted at 1 Madison. Just to give you a sense, they're all a similar story. They leased 15,000 feet approximately about 2 years ago at 315 Park South. They now, 18 months later, whatever it is, they have signed a lease for 90,000 feet. And we're seeing in Midtown South, which is really Canal to 34th Street, a lot of these tenants that were all on the sidelines during COVID. The slowest part of Manhattan was these large floor plates, raw, unimproved spaces. Now we've seen Chime did a deal in 122 Fifth for 90,000 feet. Pinterest went to 11 Madison, roughly 80,000 feet. We're seeing a lot of demand for these high growth companies, and some of them are AI.
What about Midtown South?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Midtown South is doing great. Right now the better buildings have demand, and you are seeing what is available today on large blocks are really the buildings that went through tremendous improvements with major capitalized landlords, and they have aspirational rents, which I think they're going to get, which is then going to add another layer to the Midtown South market of things to point to say that's where the rents have been for the best buildings. So, wait and see, but I think that's probably happening in the next few months.
What about co-working?
Co-working is actually getting active again. It's probably a different version of what it was. Many of the co-working transactions are these managed transactions where someone's doing a management deal with the landlord where there's a base amount of rent they're paying and an upside to the landlord depending on how successful their co-working is.
So the
landlord's a partner.
Okay.
Right. But what's interesting is Industrious. I think Industrious in the last 18 months has signed 10 leases. WeWork has signed less leases but a larger amount of square footage, but most of theirs have been more of the enterprise where they have clients that they're servicing. So I do think we're seeing many more co-working firms coming to landlords in this managed concept, and it's not a four-letter word. It's something that people are embracing.
Okay, what about with regard to who do you see as coming out as the leader in renting or new neighborhoods? Like the Hudson Yard started, then the Far West Side, Brookfield West. Which Which neighborhood?
Well, listen. This sounds we're going historic to coming back. I think the leader is really the 3 avenues in Midtown that everyone wants and it's hard to get. So it started with Park, it went to Madison, and now 6th Avenue
right.
is doing great. Because 6th Avenue, you have these large 40,000-foot floor plate buildings, well-capitalized landlords, and most of them have reinvented their buildings.
And what about 3rd Avenue?
3rd Avenue is really doing between the conversions.
It's no longer Accountant's Row?
No, it's not. 3rd Avenue looks great. And I'm not just saying that. It does feel differently. People do not view 3rd Avenue as, oh, that's a big leap. Because the buildings that are available, many of them have been renovated, and you go and look at them and you go, this is quite nice. And we're actually working on a few deals. The tenant is coming off of coming from Madison Avenue, they're moving to 3rd Avenue. Why? Because the building is as nice, probably a little less expensive, but they're very proud of it.
So it looks like the office market has definitely improved. No question about it.
The office market, the streetscape. You go into Grand Central, you see how crowded it is. You go into any office lobby, you will see a crowded environment. And then finally, law firms. I mean, who would have thought that during COVID, law firms would have this thirst to take more space, not just to lease space. But when we track the bigger deals, Paul Weiss, Ropes and Gray, Simpson Thatcher, on and on and on, each one of them is expanding. Kirkland Ellis, this is a consistent theme because they're designing their spaces to be a client-centric where you go and have an epicenter on the floor.
I'd like to thank David Falk for being here. We could talk about this for the next 25 minutes at least, or the next hour, but I'm definitely going to have you back before the end of the year.
Always great being here.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
If you're looking to create, grow, and sustain your wealth, download and subscribe to the Pain Points of Wealth podcast at BeBullish.com with Bob, Ryan, and Chris Payne. It's your podcast for market insights, money tips, and real talk on the economy. Download and subscribe at BeBullish.com.